trucking industry. Let's talk about it.
Another worse week for the trucking industry. I'm actually sitting in Seattle, Washington right now without a load. I don't have no load right now. I dropped my load 8 o'clock in the morning and it's already 1 o'clock that I'm sitting here waiting for the load. A lot of people been asking me, does it gonna get fixed? Is it gonna get better? I have no fucking clue what is gonna happen because day by day it's getting worse and worse. I have no clue. I haven't seen trucking industry like this in the past 10 years. This is the worst year for the trucking industry. Worst year. And when I came to the truck stop, I reserved a shower. There were 23 people in front of me in the line. 23 people. It's been 4 hours I'm waiting for the shower. And they still 3 people ahead of me. Still. So you can imagine that how many people are sitting at this truck stop without a load. All the truck drivers, we have nothing else to do besides taking shower all day.
Yeah, so the trucking industry's been getting pretty disrupted right now because of one main thing that's happening to our economy and what President Trump has enacted, and that is tariffs. Tariffs have had a huge, major effect on the trucking industry, and there has been a massive amount of videos that I found from just scrolling. And I mean, it was video after video after video of truck drivers and people who are related to the trucking industry or someone in the trucking industry that is talking about how bad this really is. In the trucking industry, I mean, that's a backbone to our economy. I mean, that's how we get our goods. So let's dive in today and see kind of what's going on out there right now.
Truckers out of Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Oakland are sounding the alarm. New tariffs are choking freight, leaving containers stranded and livelihoods at risk. Let's unpack it. The Port of LA expects a 10% drop. Long Beach expects a 20% drop. Truckers, especially dry age drivers hauling containers, are stuck. One driver said he's down from making $1,000 a day to $300 a day, working 15 hours to do it just to scrape by. All kinds of social media posts echo this. Truckers report freight rates and capacity is already down 25%, and it's only been a couple of weeks. Tariffs are pricing goods out of reach. Businesses that are cash strapped are rejecting shipments and pausing orders, leaving ports clogged with unclaimed containers. So even though they force fed as many containers over here, people are not picking them up because they just don't have the means to do it anymore now that the tariffs have started. The American Trucker Association warns 100,000 cross-border truckers face slashed loads. California is really feeling it because the $23.6 billion in agricultural trade standstills, not being shipped anywhere. Truckers are pivoting to domestic routes, but there's a lot of competition. California, we know Newsom is suing about the tariffs. It's not going to help anything because it's not going to be able to stop or make loads come in. Until the case gets to its final term, everything still stays still, even though they're suing. So it looks like this could be the new normal. Truckers are going to be feeling the pain for a while. This is really going to affect, I mean, the fact that people are like, we can't afford that shipment anymore because of the tariffs, they're denying them. Even though they're here already, they're like, we don't want them. It's going to get pretty crazy.
Man, that is nuts. I mean, I'll say first off, from making, $1,000 a day, which that's pretty damn good money, by the way. $1,000 a day to 300. That is a huge, huge cut. Massive cut for the trucking industry, for that one example he was talking about. Imagine what that would do to your lifestyle. I mean, for anyone, that's insane to think about. Having to manage going from living your lifestyle, whatever it is, at $1,000 a day, however many days you work, to making $300 a day. Now you're having to work, and you're having to work just as hard for that 300. What we're seeing right now is not good. And here's the other thing that worries me, right? The other thing that concerns me is this the start, right? Is this the start? Is this the first industry that kind of bottoms out, and then it's just kind of a domino effect from here? And then we're going to start seeing layoffs pop off even more. I mean, we've been seeing layoffs happen for a while, which it just shocks me how the unemployment rate has not picked up like it has. I mean, every month it comes out, I'm like, all right, here we go. Here comes the big increase, and then boom, flat. I really do think times are going to get worse before they get better, unfortunately.
Here's Joe from Georgia. Trucking in the United States is getting ready to suffer. And truckers who depend on those shipments for their jobs are going to be unemployed, especially if you're operating on the west coast of America. Because all those shipments that go to China that aren't going to happen because of the tariffs, those shippings go to California ports. Well, in May of 2020, during COVID, there was 50 blank sailings in California going to China. That means canceled sailings where full ships would go to China. Now, 50 in 2020 in COVID. This past month and the beginning of April, there's been 80 already. And someone said it. This is going to make COVID look like good times.
That's something you don't want to hear. I mean, not to be like funny, but like for real though. Oh my goodness. Like, are we on the brink of something bad right now? I also wonder too, I wonder if it gets so bad. Like if it gets so bad where Trump's like, hey, we've got to do something different here. This isn't working. You know, forcefully put the economy in a recession so that we can refinance this debt, because our debt payments right now, our interest payments alone, I believe it's like the second or third highest paid line item on the U.S. Budget. It's just our interest payments. So Trump may be looking at that and be like, hey, you know, let's go through some tough times, forcefully put us in a recession, which in return is going to force the Fed to, you know, lower rates, and then the U.S. can refinance that debt, lower their interest payments, and, you know, lower that line item on the budget a little bit. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. But, man, if you're a truck driver right now watching this, I'm feeling for you. I am, because that sucks. That sucks that you guys have to go through that. And I hope this is a short-lived situation. I really do.
So I'm at work right now, but I am reading this article from Freight Waves. They're saying that layoffs are going to hit the freight-related companies across Southwest or Southeast. More than 1,800 jobs cut in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So, question is, are we doing great yet?
Ooh. Yo, people are pissed at Trump right now. They are. I mean, let's just say this, the amount of layoffs we're seeing right now is crazy. It really is. It's crazy to see all these different industries and how many layoffs are currently happening. And I don't think it's over yet. I don't. I mean, I'm nervous about my job, right? If let's say on the flip side, like let's say we don't see interest rates drop due to a forceful recession. Let's say increased spending still happens while giving tax cuts, which is going to have an effect on the mortgage interest rates, which are going to increase that. That hurts my job, right? That means that's less people that are going to be looking to buy a house because they're priced out. Or home prices are going to have to tumble massively. What a wild world we're living in right now. Wild.
America, brace yourselves for what's coming. Obviously, if you don't know, I'm a truck driver. We are in a recession right now. Banks have announced a recession, right? And unfortunately, us as truck drivers, we've been feeling this. Some will tell you a year, 2 years, 3 years, but the public has not realized this until now, right? Now, what's going to happen is it's like deja vu all over again. Warehouses are running out of product. They have only so much, and the rest is going to be relied on other countries. Unfortunately, due to the tariffs, we don't have anything to rely on right now, right? Amazon just announced they're laying off thousands of people across the country. For example, my son works at UPS part-time while he's in college. They cut his hours and many of their hours, right? They'll start, whoever had a car note is going to get their car repossessed. The housing market, foreclosure is going to happen. Bankruptcy is going to happen. There's nothing wrong with bankruptcy, starting all over. Donald Trump, our president, our commander-in-chief, has filed bankruptcy multiple times under corporation names, right? So that's normal. Fresh start. But we have to understand Donald Trump, I've always said this, right? On paper, looks good what he's trying to do. What I mean by that is, ladies and gentlemen, for it to look good on paper, in reality, we would have to reset back into the late 80s, early 90s. What does that mean when I say that? the way things cost the average American to live. We would have to go back to those days for manufacturing jobs to come back in our country and for people to be able to work in these manufacturers. Other than that, you would have to put robots in these warehouses for it to work. The average American wants a very good hourly pay, lucrative, wants 401k, wants health insurance. All that's going to come from the consumer. When the product is being made, all that has to come into consideration and break it down per unit, per cost. It's a little too late for that, right? That's just the way it is.
I mean, yeah, guy makes a great point. I think the biggest thing here, too, that I'm also hearing is like, you know, if we're trying to get all these manufacturing jobs to come back to America, who's going to want to do those jobs? Like, let's be real here for a second. Who wants to go back and work in a factory making, you know, a minimal wage, not minimum, but minimal wage, and, you know, probably not a super high paying job. And then the other problem with that is look how expensive everything is, right? Who's going to go work, you know, in a hot ass factory, not making much money to get by and can't afford their rent or groceries? Who's going to fill those jobs? Who's going to do that? Now, unless everyone just gets desperate, times get worse with the recession and brings prices back down, maybe that's a lucrative job then. And, or maybe, you know, for the amount of people that need to do it, they increase the wages. I don't know, guys. I'm literally just talking out of my you-know-what right now. This is a time in history that's going to get talked about 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And you know how you always wish you could like go back in time and like, oh, I wish I could have bought Bitcoin in 2009. Or, oh, if I just would have bought real estate in the 1980s and 90s, I'd be a billionaire right now. Like, I want to know what that is. I think it's AI. I do. I just don't know the best way to go about that. But I think AI is going to be what we look back on and be like, oh, I wish we could have everyone just invested in this and now I'm sitting pretty. But it's going to be a time frame right now that goes down in history. And I just hope most of us are on that right side of history where we all can make it through it. Now, I think a lot of people, like he said, are going to go through some tough times. There's going to be bankruptcies. There's going to be car repossessions. There's going to be foreclosures. And unfortunately, that's the common thing that happens in a recession, and it sucks. But I will say this. The one way to not lose your assets is to not borrow them, right? Pay off your car as fast as you can. Obviously, the mortgage is a little different, but try to buy something that you can afford, which that's the problem right now. You can't afford anything. It's just a weird time we're living in right now.
It's a tough time being a truck driver. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just heard some news. A trucking company called LTI Services just completely shut down. 250 trucks, about 300 trailers, just completely shut down out of nowhere. Now, obviously, 250 drivers are gonna be out of a job. They need to scramble to look for a job. But here's the thing is, when I was looking at it, reading the article, I was telling myself, why didn't they downsize, right? Why just completely shut down? Obviously, we understand they're losing money, but there are other alternatives where you don't need to shut down. You just downsize. You know, instead of having 250 trucks, maybe have 50 trucks. It's manageable. But to completely shut down operations, obviously we only know from the outside, me reading the article, but man, 250 drivers out of nowhere got a message saying the company's shutting down completely. They're gonna get them home some way, somehow. But obviously, easier said than done. If these drivers are, God knows where they're at, trying to get them back. It's unfortunate, sad situation. It's a tough time to be a semi-truck driver right now, man. God bless each and every one of you, man.
I mean, I'll say it too, guys. Like, if you're a truck driver and you're watching this video, like I feel for you. Like, that's crazy. Like, that sucks. 250 workers just lost their jobs. And here's the other hard part. When you lose your job in a tough time like we're living in right now, potential recession, it's not like you can just turn around and go find another job, right? It's not like, oh, okay, I'll just go work for this other trucking company. Well, no, the whole trucking industry's in shit right now. Oh, man.
How big is your company?
About a mid-sized company.
Okay. Do you think this will get affected by the tariffs right now and everything that's going on in the stock market?
Not that I've seen anything as far as stock market goes. It just bounced back today. My wife is a financial advisor with Stiefel Financial.
Okay.
And they just found out today that it jumped back up. So
okay.
I mean, as far as what the tariffs are doing to this industry, I couldn't tell you.
But you guys are staying busy.
I'm staying busy, yeah.
See, and that's the other thing. Like, I saw this video, I was like, what the hell? And this video is only like, I think 5 or 6 days old. Like, this they just posted this not too long ago. So then you look at this, you're like, well, what the heck's going on? And maybe he has domestic routes, right? Maybe he's not a port driver. I mean, I'm not a trucking industry expert by any means, but maybe he just does domestic routes. I mean, truck drivers, if you're watching me, explain this guy's thesis to me in the comment section. What would make him think, and what's making him busy versus all the other truckers out there we're seeing that are getting laid off and companies going under and people losing from going $1,000 per day paychecks to now $300? What's truly going on, right? Like what make, I mean, or is this guy an outlier? Or is that what it is?
Right now, truckers across the country are reporting a really disturbing trend. The hours are being cut, like I said, the loads are disappearing, and the freight rates are dropping. And it's not just rumors. Major ports like in Seattle and Los Angeles are seeing a noticeable slowdown. Containers are sitting or they're simply not arriving. And it's a direct result of what's going on with the trade war and new tariffs. And when truckers aren't working, it's not just about them. It means that there's going to be less food, less fuel, and fewer essentials are going to be moved around the country for you and I. And what most people don't get as well is that truckers are really the heartbeat of the American economy. If the shelves are stocked, it's because a trucker typically got it there. If your fridge is full, thank a truck driver. This is how food shortages can sneak up on a nation, not just through a sudden catastrophe, but through a slowdown of logistics, a breakdown of it that people usually don't choose to pay much attention to. If ports are empty and truckers are idle, the freight is drying up, you need to ask yourself, how long before your local store starts cutting back as well? What happens when the restocks take longer and when items disappear without warning? This is how it starts, and it's already in motion. You can see it going on everywhere. When you turn on the news, people are talking about it everywhere. Your friends and family might be starting to say something. You might be seeing it in the stores already, and it's supposed to get worse in the very coming weeks. In fact, before the end of May, most people will be seeing this take place at a store near you. For me and my family, we always try and stay prepared ahead of time, so we don't wait for the next disaster to take place before we start preparing for things that may come down the pipeline eventually. We stock up on.
Yeah, so that's the other scary part of this situation is what the hell happens to our food? Like if food ain't coming in, or we have a massive food shortage, what the hell happens? I mean, we all got to eat, you know? So like I think those are the things that we don't think about as everyday Americans of, you know, what this potential, you know, turnaround could happen of this trucking industry basically having, not going under, but going through some tough times. If they're not moving products and, you know, pushing products to me in the Midwest, how am I going to feed my family? When you talk about it like that, that is the real scary part to this situation. I mean, forget even money for a second, right? If there's no food, I mean, we're talking about some deep shit right now. Like, imagine what could happen if, like, America's just, like, doesn't have food. I mean, we're talking all hell breaking loose. Could you imagine that, though? Thank God I live close to woods, I guess. I'm gonna go kill me some deer and eat a bunch of old buck stew for a while. Oh my goodness.
Hi folks, so unfortunately some more bad news for the US economy. Mack Trucks is saying that they're laying off up to 350 employees at their Pennsylvania plant. They have said that due to the uncertainty of tariffs, they're not sure how truck orders will be affected from now on. So unfortunately for the next 90 days, they're going to start laying off people, which is very unfortunate. Mack Truck has specifically blamed the effect of tariffs on these job losses. Folks, my name is Nick. Feel free to give me a follow. Let me know what you think in the comments. This source comes from CBS News, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.
That's there's so many of these videos, guys. I mean, you just type in trucking industry or trucking layoffs. They're all over the place. I mean, look at this next one.
What's up, y'all? So I'm gonna talk about something that a lot of motherfuckers don't really talk about. So a lot of people are so quick, a lot of companies are so quick to have you and hire you and call you in for work and ask you to work on holidays and stuff like that. People don't give a fuck about you at the end of the day. They don't care. They don't care what you got going on. They don't care your plans. They don't care about your goals. They don't, nothing. You gotta care for yourself. You gotta look out for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I say that to say this, man. Like, this morning, I'm over there getting a load, you know, for my company. You know, we working, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think everything going good. You know, you kind of planning out your beginning of the year, you know, with your wife, you know, you trying to do your thing, you know, like, all right, this is our next step. You know what I'm saying? So they called me this morning talking about, hey, we got till Friday. If you want to work with us till Friday, we're going to get rid of the crew division. Like, we no longer going to have tankers or have crew side. We're going to take all the trucks. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, you leave me without a job because, like, you know what I mean? Fuck them. You know, fuck Devon. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, in other words, people don't care, man. Like, I got a CDL, man. I got experience under my belt. So, earlier, I ain't gonna lie, I was stressed out. I was stressed the fuck out. Like, stressed out. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to cry. You know what I'm saying? Like I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? But you can't fold, man. You can't fold. You can't, like, you can't sit there and cry about this shit. Like, you got to just get up and go get it, man. You got to find a way. And it's going to take sacrifice. Like, you know, I might not want to be out of town and go work a job, you know, while I'm away from the house a little bit. Hey, but if that's what it's going to take, that's what I'm going to have to go do. Because why? Because at the end of the day, my life matters. But at the end of the day, I got kids that I got to provide for. You know what I mean? I got a wife at the house taking care of my kids, depending on me. I got kids depending on me. I can't be selfish because I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. But at the moral of the whole story, man, take care of your fucking self. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to give a fuck about you, man. They'll cut you off like that. They'll cut you off like that, quick. But that goes with your job. That goes with your family. That goes with your friends, you know. Motherfuckers don't care about you, man. When it benefits them, it benefits them. If it don't benefit them, hey, they off to the next. But I mean, that's how life goes, right? But much love to y'all. We gonna keep at it. So in the future, I got 2 more days here. I got Thursday, Friday, but here in the future, I'm gonna have a lot more content because I'm going on a different journey. But, you know, your boy out. Love y'all. Peace. Stay with it, y'all.
You hate to see that. I mean, true man right there speaking true words, though. I mean, like, you got to take care of your family. You got to make sacrifices. You got to go do what you got to do to get your bread, to take care of your kids and your wife. So much respect to him. And I hope he finds whatever he needs to do. But, like, that's the tough part, is that he's not the only one right now, guys. Like, there are thousands of people going through what he's going through right now. And as I've said it before, and I'll probably say it again, I don't think we're at the end of it. I don't. So if you think that may happen to you, the best thing you can do right now is to start preparing. God bless, guys.